Section number 10 of the Georgics. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by caveat. The Georgics by Virgil. Translated by Harriet Waters Preston. Book number 3, part number 4. Hear also what the signs and sources be of thy dumb creatures' maladies, for thy sheep are smit sometimes with a loathsome leprosy. When the chill of the winter's rain hath gone too deep, or that of the hoary frost, or the body shorn is fouled with sweat, or the briar hath rudely torn, then shall thy shepherds lead unto water sweet the stricken flock, and see they are all besprent, and the long-fleeced ram shall bodily plunge in it, till the current carry him down, and an unguent of oil and sulphur and silver scales prepare, and pitch and wax and the sea-leek mingle there, bitumen black and the pungent hellebore, or better still the fortune that shall await thy kindly care. If thou put thy knife to the sore, seeing the ill that is hidden grows more great, when thou but sittest and prayest the gods for aid, nor ever a healing hand to the wound have laid, so when the body is wholly racked with pain, and the fierce insatiate fever burneth deep, behoves to temper the fire and smite the vein beneath the foot till the blood therefrom do leap. Such is the wont of the wild Gelonian men, so do the Thracians of Bisaltia, when they hie them to Rhodope for pasturage, or the Dacian desert, and with milk of mares commingled with horses' blood their thirst assuage. But the dam who still remote from her fellows fares, who daintily pulls up the grass tips, or doth make for restful shade, or all in languor take her feed, as she lays outstretched in the open plain, who strayeth at night into the lonely haunts away, and away followeth last of the moving train, her without any tarrying thou shalt slay, or else the infection of her ills severe will taint the flock, or ever thou knowest fear. For the squall at sea, the herald of tempest dire, strikes not more suddenly than the pests that fall, ofttimes on the flock, nor singly do they expire, but the summer camp is desolated all. The flock that is, and the hope of the coming days, perish in one, the first and last of the race. As well he knoweth who the ascent hath made of the Alpine summits, or haply taken his way to the hill forts of the Nori land, or strayed along the Timavus in Iapidea, where the shepherd's realm lies desert many a year, and the glades are solitary far and near. For there, on the burning autumn long gone by, the very heavens with pestilence were stricken, the peaceful flocks all given over to die. Yes, even the savage beasts in their lairs did sicken, and the ways of death were manifold. For indeed the fountains of water were poisoned in the feed, and first a pitiless fever did contract the veins and cramp the sufferer's limbs. Thereon followed the flow of a deathful cataract, where the bones dissolved piecemeal and were gone, and ofttimes in the midst of a sacred rite among the ministers of the altar, dight in woolly cap and fillet like unto snow, fell the ill-fated victim and expired, or ever the lagging priest could deal his blow. Nor were the entrails upon the altar fired, nor might the soothsayer answer men who prayed. The knife came clean from the throat, and the thin gore made barely a stain on the surface of the sand. Then perished amid the meadow blossoms gay the bullocks in never-counted numbers, and at cribs overflowing their sweet lives yielded they. And unto the kindly canine race there came fierce madness, and breathless coughing racked the frame, and the swollen jaws of the unwieldy sow. The conquering courser e'en forgot his pride and passion, forgot the grasses where they grew, and turned him sick from the limpid fount aside, restlessly pawing the earth. Despondent hung his ears, the while there was fitful sweatings wrung out of his members, and the same were cold as ice in the sufferers ordained to die, whose hard hot skin gave not unto mortal hold. And these so ominous warnings verily were given long days before the fatal end. But when the advancing ill began to tend, even to worse, the eyes did kindle as flame, deep drawn and mingled with groanings of distress, and spasm in all the entrails. The breath came, dark gore from the nostrils flowed, and the tongue did press the throbbing throat most cruelly. One sole way there seemed the pangs of the dying to allay, and wine was given them in inserted horns, which yet did hasten the end and feed the fire. For now on himself the death-struck creature turns. May the gods avert from the pious woes so dire, reserve it unto our foes. And in despair doth his own failing members mangle and tear, and oft the steaming bullock, striving to thole the ponderous plough, fell prostrate suddenly with bloody vomit and cry of mortal dole. Then did the ploughman hasten him to untie the yoke, and the bereaved one divide right sorrowfully from his fated brother's side. And the share stood fixed, and the task was left undone. The shadiest grove, the sweetest meads no more might waken the longing of the passing one, nor rivers brighter than amber, where they pour over the pebbles toward the fair champaign. For the long flanks lay unnerved, and the eyes in vain struggled with stupor, while the enfeebled neck swayed heavily earthward. And what boots him now to have lovingly toiled for men, who little reek the weight of the clods he hath lifted with his plough? What boots the innocent life that ne'er hath known the flow of the massic cap, nor the boards that groan with manifold courses, but the herb of the field and the leaf of the tree supplied their banquetings, and the wine of the feast was that the rivers yield, when they run fast and clear, and the bubbling springs and the healing slumbers ne'er were stolen of these meek revellers by hard anxieties. Men say that never in all those regions far were the oxen sought in vain ere that dread time for the sacred service of Juno, but her car, and equally drawn of buffaloes, did climb the way to the stately temples. And men did lay their helpless hands to the mattock, and essay themselves to turn the sod and bury the grain, or patiently bow their necks to the yoke, and o'er the steep of the mountains draw the creaking wain. The wolf went prowling about the fold no more, a nightly terror unto the flock, for lo, he had cowered to a sharper fear, and the timorous doe and the fleet-footed stag did unregarding roam, with ravening dogs about the men's dwellings. And then there came a time when the sea did fling as foam o'er the rejected bodies of shipwrecked men, her tribes to the shore, and in the self-same days the seals escaped to the rivers in their amaze, and in her tortuous hold the viper died, having sought sanctuary there in vain, and the venomous hydra bristling terrified in scaly armour. The fields of air were sane, even unto the birds no longer then, who sped precipitately from their dwellings overhead, nor change of pasture might any more avail the flock, for misery came out of every one of the precious healing arts, their heads did fail. Amathonian, Melopus, and the son of Philyra, Chiron, and pale Tisiphon brake forth of the Stygian shades ferociously, tossing her cruel head in the light of day, driving before her pestilence and affright, and the arid banks of the river ran along, and the pasture slopes with bellowings infinite and sorrowful bleatings, while the goddess of woe multiplied slaughter, and the heaps did grow. In the very stalls of putrefying dead, whose skins were good no more for the garments of men, nor was the filth of their flesh abolished by floods of water, nor could the fire make clean, hardly even be shorn the victim's fleece, so was it eaten away by dire disease. And the webs, if woven, crumbled under the touch. Or did men seek infatuate to assume those hateful vestments out of the limbs of such, there brake a sudden torrent of sweat, a fume of loathsomeness, then burning pustules came, no long delayed the accursed fire to claim its piteous prey in the infected frame. End of Book 3. End of Section 10.